Should we start off with the straightforward result in Roscommon or go straight for the good stuff?
I'd say go with the straightforward result and then straight into the meat.
Right, okay. So Roscommon Gaels are going to play Porrick Pierces in the Roscommon County Final on October 13th. Roscommon Gaels beat Strokestown 113 to 10 points. Now the Gaels are actually 9 points to 1 up at half time, so they nearly dirtied their bib and everything else with it in the second half. But the big one, Porrick Pierces 310, Boyle 114. Pierces finished with 12 men. That's a great. Willie Hegarty apparently on Shannonside FM referred to them as the 12 Apostles.
Yeah,
of course,
Willie's always a good man. He's always on the ball. In fairness.
So Pierces are chasing their first ever title, and Gaels going for a first one since 2004. And we threw it out last night, a tweet that we were doing club talk today, and some great stuff happened. And Katrina Moore replied saying, the Roscommon update should be fun. That is once you and the ref figure out what actually went down. And you said enlighten us, and she goes, I leave it to the PRO to give you a full rundown, but the Pierce Boyle match sounds like it was deserving of a show all by itself. Phantom yellow cards, group refereeing, and quite a few early showers. So you did a bit of investigative journalism there.
Yeah, I got the Pierce's point of view, so I just got a message back from someone from Pierce's who was at the game and just said, mad game. First red was 2 yellows. Harsh as the second yellow for David Murray, should have been a free out before he was fouled, so that was grand. Last one was a black and a yellow and was clear cut, so no problem there. In between one was mad though. Larkin Daly was black carded for a trip. We brought on a sub. He was part of a turnover that won us a free. Then the linesman and referee had a discussion and told us to take the substitute off as Daly was yellow carded and then black carded, but he wasn't. So our line broke onto the field, so their management and things like that made the referee check his book. Then they all claim, and I must put in the word allegedly here, they all claim that he actually changed the number of one of the yellow cards on his book, so all hell kicked off.
Yeah, so we can't stand over that, but that's, apparently there was a big fracas in the first half, and 7 or 8 lads were given yellow cards, so God knows what sort of consternation is going on. But this is what we're left with, confusion, and of course, the GA is brilliant for this.
Well, and without being smart, when things are going bad and there's yellows and stuff flying around, some of the things that can happen in matches are just bizarre, and referees can, in particular, and it's the most unenviable job in the world. I totally understand that, but they can totally lose the room themselves. Yeah, totally.
But if you're in a stadium and you have 5,000 or 6,000 lads roaring at you, and they all probably know you too, and they're roaring abuse at you, and you have players getting on top of you, and you're tired because you're sprinting around the field, just who would want to be a referee?
No,
honest to God. And is there a possibility that you might kind of tick down a load of numbers or whatever and then go back over it later and you've written down so many, you're like, does that say number 8 or number 9? I'm not sure. Yeah. And that's not to say that this referee was in that sort of scenario, but you just don't know. And can you imagine being the sub who's come on for the black carded player, Larkin Daly? You come in, you do your bit, and all of a sudden you're told, sorry, you're Garrow here, and you're like, what do I do? I didn't do anything. So that's the Roscommon Championship. We'll be looking forward to that final anyway, the Gaels against Porrick Pierces.
The Gaels will obviously have, or Pierces had their 15 men back because none of them were straight red carded or anything like that. So God only knows what they could do with a full outfit.
Na Fianna knocked Ballymun out of the championship right in Dublin over the weekend. The 5 in a row players were all back, 13 points to 8. And Ballymun, we talked about having those 6 county players for the 5 in a row Dublin All-Ireland winning team, and you think surely they're going to beat Na Fianna, who are a coming team, but you'd think they'd have too much for them here. Their shooting was very, very poor. I think James McCarthy was the only guy who probably played fairly well.
Dean Rock held scoreless by Johnny Cooper.
A couple of poor wides for that you wouldn't expect for him. Generally the thing is, people say he's not great at getting himself into the game at times, but when he gets the ball in his hand, it's lights out. Yeah. It wasn't this time.
I kind of talked to you, just we were chatting about the match even last Friday, and they said it must be difficult for a team like Ballymun in the sense that, well, number one, first things first, they have no excuse for the talent that they have. They should be winning way more. 1 county title with all that plethora of talent, they have no excuse. Yeah. But number two, it must be a tad difficult to be dealing with that amount of players not being in your fold basically for the whole year, apart from a game or two in April. And then they're all parachuted back in after 5 in a row, after enjoying the celebrations and everything like that. And it's basically 1/3 of your team.
Yeah, because the week after the 5 in a row happened, and I know the likes of Philly McMahon doesn't even drink, but some of those players would have been probably out really enjoying themselves when other lads, the lads that are the club guys that were there all year, they're probably in a training knowing the other boys are on the beer. And this happens at clubs up and down the country. This isn't a Ballymun thing at all. But one of the things that was so interesting from that game was that Sean Curry started in goals rather than Evan Comerford, who is the number 2. Unfortunately, with a little bug in the machine there. So we lost some of that recording with Michael Verney, but I'll plough on without him all the same. So yeah, I was saying Evan Comerford was on the bench, even though he's Dublin's sub-goalkeeper, so being on the bench for Ballymun kick him. So very interesting situation to see a guy who's like the second best guy in the county, possibly one of the top 10 goalies in the country in terms of potential. Just the few snippets we've seen with Dublin, looks really, really composed. Looked like it didn't take a fonk out of him and performed very well for Jim Gavin, and you'd imagine in time he will step into the shoes of Stephen Cluxton. But is it a situation whereby Ballymun know that for, I don't know, 70% of the year that they're going to need Sean Curry there, whether it's league games or what have you, and then all of a sudden they can't just tell him, sorry, look, you're going to drop out every time it's an important game. And for him, the carrot mightn't be there anymore, and you might step away if you're in his sort of position. So for them, I suppose, maybe it's a case where, Evan Comerford, you're away from us from the whole year, so you can't just step back in and get your spot. So it looks like that's what's happened. Maybe we're wrong, but it's interesting that would happen, because no other position in the field would it occur. Kilmacud Crokes, they won a dead rubber game against Sylvester's, 219 to 110. In Group 2, Ballybodens, they hammered Skerry's Harps 220 to 6 points, so a 20-point beating in Gaelic football is serious going. Warren Egan was very impressive, hit some lovely scores. Michael Darren McCauley wasn't even playing. Clontarf beat Lucan 117 to 110. In Group 3, Judes beat Thomas Davis by 4 points, and Plunkett's home of the Brogans, they lost to Brian Fenton and Brian Howard's Raheny 217 to 210. Castleknock beat Bridget's in a bit of a dead rubber, and St Vincent's hammered Ballantyre St John's. So the quarterfinals then in Dublin are Kilmacud Crokes against Clontarf, Ballyboden against Nafina, St Jude's against Vincent's, and Castleknock against Thomas Davis. The women's Dublin County final was on Saturday for Rain Soak Parnell Park. Fox Rock Cabinteely 213, Kilmacud Crokes 3-8. Molly Lamb scored a couple of pressure penalties for Kilmacud Crokes there, but Fox Cab come through anyway. That's a 5 in a row from them, which is very good going. So the Leix Football Championship, Port Leix are back into a county final. Their 13th final in a row, which is an incredible run. They beat Port Arlington 116 to 114. They were down by 7 points at one stage, and they won by 2 after 13 minutes of injury time. And of course, 4 red cards in there just to keep things nice and interesting. They'll meet either Ballyfin or Collection, who have a replay on Wednesday to decide the other semi-final. That ended in a draw, so you're talking about one team there who's never won a county final and another who hasn't been there for 60 years. So Stephen Miller tweeted 2 gripping Leix semi-finals on an almost unplayable pitch in Port Leix. Weather has been bad recently, but it's been getting too many games. Dreadful weather forecast for tomorrow. Football replay on Wednesday, and at least 5 hurling games next weekend. So that pitch is going to be in ribbons by the end of it, pure mudbat. The Limerick Football Championship, Ula are in there. They're after beating St Kieran's in the semi-final. So Ula will now play Newcastle West in the final. I saw Richie English doing an interview after the game. He's the cornerback for the Limerick Hurlers, of course. Knocked out at the club championship with Doon, but he's still involved with the hurling team, and some of those players have been going week on week. So that'll be Ula against Newcastle West. In the Offaly Championship, Furban, and we had said in the past that we had said that Belmont were going for the double, but Belmont and the hurlers read Furban in the football. So just to clarify that, Furban will play Road in the final for the 3rd time in 4 years. Road have won the last 2 times they've met in the final. Furban had a 6-point win over Eden Derry, and Keane Johnson hit 5 from play. Road edged out Clara 2-9 to 9. 3 lads sent off, so that's more red cards in the Midlands. Scott Brady and Thomas Dean walked for Clara, Conor McNamee for Road. There was injury worries over Niall McNamee and Brian Darby heading into the final, so that's not ideal for Road. The Wexford semi-final, Gussaran 2-12, Glyn Barntown 1-11. So what I thought was very funny that also happened this past weekend in Wexford, was a tweet by a team that was in the intermediate semi-finals from Crossabeg Ballymurn. The tweet went out at 6:31 p.m. on Saturday, generated or wanted ASAP. So basically what had happened is, in the other semi-final, the referee had showed up late. That meant that game was delayed down in Belfield. And of course that pushed back the second semi-final. The floodlights weren't going. So essentially the game had to be abandoned because of the lack of floodlights. So there you go, that's GEA for you. The Tyrone football semi-finals. Trillick beat Coal Island 13 points to 12. Huge win for Trillick, you know, the Donnellys and so on. As Cara O'Kane tweeted, absolutely gripping game of football, had everything. So it was Coal Island's 10th wide of the game at the last kick of the game that kind of cost them ultimately. Trillick had only 5. Philly Mack, who often does updates of Tyrone football, tweeted, heartbreak for the 2018 Tyrone County champions as they miss a last minute free to equalise. Lee Brennan top scored for the visitors, or for the victors I should say, with 6 points, 4 frees and 2 45s in a game that saw James Garrity excel for the Reds. So they'll play Errigal Kieran in the final, which is Mickey Hart's club, and Peter Hart of course. They beat Carrickmore by 1-11 to 9 points. Dara Canavan netted the only goal of the game, and he's the son of Peter Canavan and Peter the Great. And of course that got me thinking of other brilliant father-son combinations over the years. Mick and Carlo Dwyer actually was the first thing that came to mind, even though there are many other great examples. Mick played for Kerry and managed them to multiple All-Irelands. Carl was part of the Kildare team managed by Mick that got to an All-Ireland final. But some of the other father and son combinations that stand out, Bernard Brogan, he had 2 sons, Alan and Bernard, that ended up winning All-Stars. Not only that, they both won Footballer of the Year. Martin McHugh, his sons Mark and Ryan, they ended up winning All-Stars. And there are 8 other father and son combinations that won All-Stars in hurling, which are Pat Reynolds and Paddy Reynolds and Meath, Dermot Early Senior and Junior for Roscommon and Kildare respectively, Liam O'Neill of Galway and Kevin O'Neill of Mayo, who played in an All-Ireland final I think back in 2006, Frank McGuigan and Brian McGuigan of Tyrone, Tim Kennelly and Ty Kennelly of Kerry, Dennis Ogie Moran and David Moran, Noel McCaffrey and Jack McCaffrey, and another Dublin one then, Barney Rock and Dean Rock. In hurling then there's 2 father and son combinations. They both come from Kilkenny. Fan Larkin and Philly Larkin of Kilkenny, as I just said, and Richie Power Senior and Junior. So in the Donegal Football Championship, Kilcar beat Killybegs by 9 points. I'd say plenty of people would have seen Paddy McBrearty slam home a goal there on RT coverage on Saturday night. He scored 1-2. St. Eunan's battered Milford 5-22 to 11 points. Owen McGeehan with he scored a hat-trick. Naomh Connell beat Glen Finn 1-14 to 13, and Rail Namara Bundoran, they went to extra time with Guidor, so that was 216 to 220, and Guidor had run the bench. They went about 8 points ahead in extra time, and they kind of ran the bench in a big way, and it almost cost them because Rail Namara Bundoran brought it back very, very close. And we've seen instances of this in the past where teams run the bench, and like if you were 7 or 8 points ahead and you just give lads a run and all of a sudden your team ends up losing, you have serious egg in your face. So the semi-finals then in Donegal are going to be Eunan's against Naomh Connell and Kilcar against Guidor. So Kilcar won it a couple of years ago. Very star-studded team with the McHughes, Owen McHugh and then Ryan and Mark McHugh. And on the other side, Guidor, who won the championship and won the Ulster title last year. Plenty of class in the team. Oran McNeilish, Kevin Cassidy up front, and Eamon McGee and Neil McGee in there as well. So plenty of good players. Kerry Championship. So Dingle, Dr. Croke, South Kerry and Killarney Legion. They're the first 4 teams that are guaranteed into the Kerry quarter-final coming up. The teams that are out at this point are Rathmore, Kenmare District, Mid-Kerry and Austin Stacks. So just run through the results in round 2A and 2B. Just bear with me as I get through them. But Paul Ganey was one of the goal scorers as Dingle beat Cairns O'Reilly 2-9 to 11. Dr. Croats beat Kieran's with 9 points to spare. South Kerry beat Brennan's by 3. Killarney Legion 2-14, West Kerry 2-9. In 2B, Kenmare Shamrocks 1-13, Rathmore 2-9, that was after extra time. Shannon Rangers beat Kenmare District 14 points to 110. Kilcummin 2-12, Mid-Kerry 13, and East Kerry 3-13, Austin Stacks 2-7. So the round 3 draw. Now the winners of these will go into the quarterfinals with the teams I'd mentioned earlier. West Kerry against Kenmare Shamrocks, Kilcummin against St. Kieran's, Cairns O'Reilly against East Kerry, and St. Brennan's against Shannon Rangers. The Cavan semi-finals were at the weekend. It didn't all exactly go as the bookies would have thought. Castleran beat Cavan Gales 1-11 to 9 points. Oisin O'Connell got a goal in the 48th minute, and that was fairly crucial. Rammer United 2-8, Crosserlock 12 points. So that was goals from James Brady and Simon Cadden. They came either side at half time. They were fairly crucial. So 5th time running that Castleran are in the final. and Rammer upset Crosserlock, and it's a repeat of the 2016 final, and that's going to be on October the 13th. So the Wicklow semi-finals, plenty of drama here. St. Pat's beat Avondale 3-11-12. That's not where the drama was though, because Geraldines and Blessington, it finished a draw after normal time. After extra time, it was 20 points to 214. Geraldines 20, Blessington 214. And then it went to penalties. And we seen what happened last week in Antrim when it was 9-9 in the free kick competition. And the Antrim chairman decided to be no more of this. Let's go back and have a second replay. Here it was abandoned at 4-4. So chairman came in, same thing again, and decided this isn't right. We need to go to a replay. And there's going to be a replay next Saturday. But it just shows again that law was brought in, that rule was brought in for just to end the games on the day, and it's not working out. If you have chairman stepping in and basically, like, the rules are there, they're breaking the rules and flagrantly, just because it just doesn't feel right. And I'm not sure if everyone in the ground was on board with his decision, and please let us know if you were there and what the feeling was on the ground. But definitely the GA have to do something about that, because you can't have a situation where chairmen are just coming in and just declaring martial law whenever it suits them. But that's not to say that it wasn't the right decision, just that it obviously wasn't by the book. And then the final one, Kilcoo are waiting in the down final, and I think every man and his dog up there that isn't from Kilcoo, that isn't a Magpie, is hoping they get beaten. But Warren Point, or Cum and Pat or Nefa, they beat Ballyholland 2-15 to 4 points. A fair old paddling, it must be said. Ross McGarry scored 111, and it'll be a first county final for them in 41 years. They were up by 110 to a point at the break, and cruised their way home. So that's it for the football. If there's anything that we missed, please let us know, and we'll have it in on Thursday on the next Club Talk. You can send a message to me at Shane Saint on Twitter, or to Michael at ML Verney, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube by clicking on that button just there.